Hello and welcome to day 11. Today has been the busiest day we've had in a while. We went out, as I said, shopping with the designer for the whole day. I have spent more on clothes in one day than I have for the last 5 years, I want to say. So previously when I worked in retail, I got clothing allowance, so I never had to buy clothes. I just used the credit to buy clothes from the store. And recently, since quitting my retail job, I haven't had to buy clothes because I had so many clothes left over from when I used to work in retail and then moving to Vietnam. The clothes here are very cheap. I think quality is maybe a thing, but that means I just don't really have to spend that much on clothes. So I probably spent around, I want to say 400 or 500 US today, which is insane. I've never ever spent that much on clothes. And it was a really different mindset. Usually when I try something on, before I try anything on, the first thing I look at is the price. And if the price is more than 40, 35 US a t-shirt, I'm not even touching it. There's no point even trying it because I refuse. So today we bought a few more expensive items. And yeah, when I had to pay, there's a bit of heart palpitations, but it's also that we need to buy the clothes. So because we like the fit or the shape so that we can use it to actually design the actual clothes that we're going to make. I'm just so exhausted, but I actually learned so much today. The first thing that I probably want to share is that when you shop for clothing, you need to shop by design first, because that's usually what determines whether you will actually wear something or not. But after you shop for design, you should grab multiple things in the design that you like, and then you need to try them on, because what actually matters most and what should decide whether you should buy a piece of clothing is not just how it looks in terms of print, but how it fits to your body. Everyone has a very different body shape, and today I learned that not every brand is suited to every single body type. So for example, Uniqlo has a much wider fit because it's trying to fit to more general population, and that works for them. Some brands like Zara, I feel, are more slim fitted, so they won't suit people who are slightly bigger size. And then there are also other brands which are like, the designer didn't even take me to any because he's like, they're not going to fit you. But there are some brands, I want to say, like, for example, Muji, which are a bigger fit. I'm not talking like a small is equal to a medium. The shoulders are still the same. And usually I think that's what people purchase based off, shoulder fit first. But the waist, there's so much variation. So when you shop, go grab a few things that you like. And then I highly, highly recommend just try to ignore the design and just ask, does this fit to my body? There's too much random fabric hanging around. Does it feel awkward? Does it feel off? And again, everybody's body proportions are different, so it's going to look different on every single person. And that's actually how we decided what we would get today versus what we wouldn't. Because the point of going shopping today was to find mainly pieces of clothing that I liked. And in a second, I'll show you all the shopping that fitted my body well. And then we're going to use them as the template to make the samples. But even once the samples come, what we need to do is not just me try it on, but Peter try it on, the designer tried it on, one of our other team members, she's a girl. This brand is supposed to be like relaxed, casual, not too masculine, so it's unisex as well. So we're getting different people to try it on. And the point of that is to make sure it fits across multiple people. Again, you're not going to be able to fit it to everyone, but at least you don't want to design something that just fits for one body type. Otherwise, it's going to look awful on many people, which defeats the purpose of having a brand, unless you're trying to sell to a very, very niche subset of people. Because obviously, if you sell to too little people, your brand cannot stay alive and it's literally going to go pew, boom, under. So here are the clothes. First, we went to Zara, one bag. Then we went to Uniqlo. There's a lot of stuff in here. I think there's other stuff in here that also not from Uniqlo. Oh my god, no. Most of that stuff is from Uniqlo. We bought a lot from Uniqlo. Then we went to some more local brands. This is like local Vietnamese brands that are in this compound where all these brands are. And then if you ever go to a department store and sometimes they have like a upcoming brand section, something like that. And then we also bought all of these things. So I never knew that a t-shirt could fit in so many ways. I'll show you a few of my favorite pieces. This is from a local Vietnamese brand. This t-shirt was the most expensive damn t-shirt I've ever bought. It was like $35 US. But it's like more of a boxy cut. And I'd just never seen something fit like this on me, so we bought it. What else did I like? There was things like this t-shirt. So that t-shirt I just showed for anyone who's listening and not watching. It's just a basic black t-shirt, but the fit is more of a box shape, which means it's like wider at the waist. And the big issue with a lot of t-shirts from Western brands or European brands is they're too long for the Asian body. And I'm a shorty, so a lot of the local brands here actually get the fitting right with the length, and it's not too long, so it looks really good. So maybe one day I'll try this on and let you guys see. Then there's this. I want to call this like, this is the ugliest color I have ever seen in my life. It is like a green turd, like someone took a dump. I'm sorry, but the fit was so amazing, and the feel of the material, we got it just because we wanted to use it to inspire some of the pieces of clothing that we will possibly make. Yeah, it's a, how to describe this? It's just a basic t-shirt. The length is not too long, and then it has some features on the side, which is, it looks like you're wearing a t-shirt underneath a t-shirt, but how it's been sewn is so nice that you don't really feel like you're wearing the t-shirt under the t-shirt. So it's just not the vibe of a t-shirt under the t-shirt, but it really just feels like the most comfortable t-shirt you've ever worn. Again, the worst color I have ever seen, but yeah, such is life. Yeah, so we ended up buying probably like 5 t-shirts, different sizes, different styles, different fits, in terms of how they fit to my body. The sleeve lengths are different, the waist lengths are different, how much room they leave for me to move my arms and stuff, all different. The fabrics are all different. It's the first time I've really looked at clothing in such detail, and I think what I realize is there's so many options. And the good thing though is we're starting to come to an agreement on what the brand style and sense is, which is what I wanted from the start. Like, I want clothes that look good, feel comfortable, but not really the traditional look good. Traditional look good often is like very edgy streetwear. When I talk to the design, we're like, oh my god, this is too like fashionable. Is very edgy. Like sometimes the crop tops are literally up to your like a hand width away from your belly button above. That's how cropped they are. And that's not our style, or my style. So like the funny thing is the designer has quite a similar style to me, not the same, but we're very comfort forward. So everything that we picked, we literally did not buy it unless it was comfortable, except for one short. There was one short we liked the fitting of, but the waist was too tight. But then he said, when we design, we can actually extend that a bit. I can't remember if I said this yesterday, but when you design a t-shirt, for example, and you take someone else's, we call it the form, it's like you use the pieces of material as a template, right? It works if it's exactly the same material, but as soon as you shift to a slightly different material, for example, if it's heavier, the material than what the original was made from, it's going to sag and pull in different ways, so it's going to look very different. The last thing, that we kind of tried to pick amongst all the clothes is no ironing. I think 2 people in the first vlog mentioned that, and then I thought about it. I do not want to iron. I do not iron. I do not own an iron. And coincidentally that weekend, Peter and I flew over to Singapore with the the other two boyfriends, Dan and Joel. I was going to say the other two BBs, but some people aren't going to understand what that is. And we had a podcast shoot for some show, and Peter and I bought like cute matching t-shirts for us, but they were made for cotton. And by the time they'd arrived in Singapore, they were so wrinkled. We had to figure out where my brother's iron was, because we always stay with my brother, and literally iron the shirts. Then we didn't want to wear them because we were going to dinner before the shoot, because we were so scared they were going to get wrinkled. We had to roll them all up really gently and put them into a plastic bag and carry the plastic bag like a cylinder for an hour before dinner, and then changed into it just before the shoot, which was insane, just to make a t-shirt look good. So one of the things I added on after that experience and a few people's comments was no ironing. We cannot do ironing. So for stuff that doesn't need to be ironed, usually it has a higher polyester content. If something's pure cotton, apparently it's just nastier. So there were a few items we picked. We're like, oh, this is really nice. And then we did a scrunch test, and then you unscrunch it and it just got wrinkles all over it. So we were like, no, we put that away. Yeah, enough about my shopping escapades today. The other thing that happened was the cleaner came this morning, and I was using ChatGPT as a translator, which I just found out you can do. Previously, I would speak to ChatGPT as a voice note, send it, and it would appear in text, and then whoever's speaking Vietnamese person would read it and understand, and then they reply, and I'd read the English. But now I just found out it's not perfect, and I'll explain why, but you can use the chat function with ChatGPT where it's like a person talking to you, and then you tell it, hey, ChatGPT, I need you to act as a Vietnamese to English translator. Don't say anything else, just translate what is spoken. So if it's spoken in Vietnamese, translate it to English and vice versa. So I was using that. Okay, the story is going somewhere, but just stay with me. Why that doesn't work well, when you're talking, giving instructions, sometimes there are natural pauses in your talking, and ChatGPT is not smart enough to figure out that you're pausing. It thinks you're pausing because you want to translate. And then sometimes you're halfway saying something, you start saying the next part, it's already starting to respond, and it gets confused because you're starting to talk again, and it gets really muddled up. So that's the main issue with it. So I realized I need to figure out exactly what I want to say the whole phrase really quickly, and then let ChatGPT translate. The issue that you can probably imagine is it's very hard for me to explain to the new cleaner that that's what she needs to do as well. So there was a few times where it jumbled up. But anyway, I was using that for the whole morning. It was not a relaxing morning because I had to show the cleaner what to do, where things were. And now I understand why, like Peter's mom, sometimes we ask her, like, why don't you just get a cleaner in to do theming? And her answer is, it takes so much effort and energy to show them everything. And sometimes they don't do it the way I like, so I'd rather just do it myself, which I understand, but I'm starting to get comfortable with someone else doing things, maybe not exactly the way I want, and then slowly adjusting. It's a process, which I'm getting used to. So I used my phone for the whole day, for the whole morning. And by the time we left the house, we had 33% battery left. And I was like, oh shit, Peter, my phone's right out of battery. Peter's like, don't worry, you have your power bank. I'm like, oh yeah, I do have my power bank. Then we get to the shop, my phone's dying. I'm like, oh yeah, shit, I should attach my MagSafe power bank to the back of my phone. MagSafe power banks are the most amazing things. They're no cables, amazing. Attach it, and of course, it is not charged. Somehow, I have forgotten to charge the power bank the last time I used it. I can briefly recall remembering putting it back into the bag and thinking I need to charge this, and then now obviously I've taken it out and it has no battery left. So my phone's dying. I'm like, I'm not going to make it through the rest of the day. So I turn off everything, kill all the apps. I put into flight mode, and I tell Peter, I'm just going to turn it on when I need to check. And then I'm checking it every 5 minutes, which is probably not helping because I'm so worried it's going to die. And every time I'm checking, it's going down by 1%. And I'm just like, my phone's going to die. I need to reply to work messages. People are, Joel and Dan, for example, are messaging me about flights that we need to book. And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to give them answers to this because my phone's going to die. And I'm stressed. Peter's already tired at this point because he's been following me around for the whole day, helping me film and shoot. I don't want to tell him, can you please keep an eye on your phone if the BB's message, okay, if in case they need anything. Peter usually doesn't check any chats. Like, I'm usually the one who has to tell him someone wants something from you in this chat, because we have a lot of group chats together. So I am tired. I'm worried about imposing that on him because his energy level is already really low. And then we get to lunch and Design takes out his laptop to type some things. And I'm like, oh my goodness, do you have a charger? And thank God he has a charger, a laptop charger. Plug it in. It's a fast charger. So by the end of lunch, I was literally down to 5%. 5%, guys. This was the most stressed I've been about my phone battery in a long time. Usually I'm really good with this. This hasn't happened to me. This is actually the worst it's ever been. I've never been in this situation for, I want to say, like 7 to 10 years. Remember, I think one day I was working in retail and something similar happened because it was unexpected, had to go out, and then the phone battery was really low. But apart from that, this is the most stressful I've ever been, most stressed I've ever had over phone battery levels. But yeah, by the end of lunch, it was fully charged, which was a saving grace. And also, I was sitting at lunch. Those two were scrolling on their phone before I got the charger, and I was just thinking, oh my God, I'm so bored. I have nothing to do. I'm going to have to entertain myself. That's okay. Because usually I would scroll on my reels, have a look at some stuff, but I'm like, okay, this is good for me. Just a bit of boredom whilst we wait for the food to come. The food was coming so slow as well. So that was another issue. One thought I had whilst all of this was happening is there a power bank? Maybe you guys can tell me. You know how your AirPods, if anyone owns AirPods, when the battery is low, you get a notification on your phone that says AirPods battery low, needs charging. And it keeps popping up until you charge. Is there a power bank that exists, which is MagSafe, slim, small, that also tells you that? So I'm fine with it not giving me every ounce of juice that it has if it reserves some. And then it tells me, like, it is low, needs to be charged, and just pops up as a notification on my iPhone. That would be amazing, because then I would never forget to charge my power bank again, this is a fear that I've had for a long time, forgetting to charge the power bank. It's like the backup, and this time my backup failed me. Usually I have lots of backups in life because as someone with ADHD, these type of things happen a lot. Forgetting to charge the phone. Like, the whole morning I was using the phone, I didn't even look once at the battery percentage, not until before we were going to leave. So the power bank is really my saving grace, and it saved me multiple times, but this time my backup didn't save me, which I'm trying to now find another backup for. So if anyone knows of a product like this, it would be fantastic. Because it's a power bank already. It already has the battery. Just add like a little Bluetooth thing, connect it to the phone, whatever Apple does. Maybe there's an Apple. I wouldn't be surprised if there is an Apple power bank that probably does this already. But is it thin and small and easy to fit in your bag? Again, I carried a lot of things in my day bag because of these situations. So sometimes it will be allergies, or I'll have an eczema flare up. So that's why I need to carry my eczema cream. My sunglasses, I'm very light sensitive, so I have to carry my sunglasses around. There's just a lot of random things that I carry in my bag because I have a lot of sensory issues to make myself feel comfortable. So if a power bank is too big, even though it has that feature, I probably wouldn't take it. I would just try and remember to charge it. That's it. And despite taking my ADHD meds today, after lunch, I needed more water, and I went to line up at the supermarket to get water, which I thought was going to be a 2-minute trip. Ended up being 10 minutes because we are in the city center and there's a supermarket downstairs where people love to buy souvenirs, and the lady in front of me had bought all these snacky souvenirs, and the cash register person was just scanning, beep, beep, beep. There were 2 lines open, and both those people had a lot of snacky souvenirs. So I was standing there, bored out of my mind. I was almost going to go call Peter and ask him to stand in line for me whilst I went and continued looking at clothes with the designer, because it was just taking so long. And I'm like, these two are probably wondering where the hell I am. That's how long it took. 10 minutes, just literally walked in and out of the supermarket. I got the bottles in 30 seconds and I stood there for 9.5 minutes. Beep, beep, beep. Yeah, someone with ADHD, I do not do well in lines. I realize I'm usually quite agitated when I'm in lines. So I try to find ways to calm myself down. this is one of them. The last thing I wanted to do today, really quickly, I realized my vlogs, some of them have been getting really long, and I do not want to just do long vlogs for the sake of long vlogs. But yesterday was 10 days of vlogging that I've started to do, and I just wanted to have some reflections about the process. Initially, when I started, there's a dopamine rush from doing anything new as someone with ADHD, which got me going. And then now we're reaching day 11. Each day I have to go in and edit the vlogs. It's getting more and more tiring, but at the same time, I'm getting better at finding a system to make it efficient. But it still takes up like an hour plus of my day because I have to film, and then I also have to edit and post. So that part is very time consuming. The one thing I will say though, surprisingly, it's hard to remember what it was like on day one, but I'm more comfortable now talking in front of the camera, and it's not as weird. I'm less focused now on looking at the camera because I've got all the framing. I'm sitting in the same spot most days. It was pretty easy. I'm less focused now on what I look like on the camera, and it's easier now to think about what's the next thing I want to talk about. So I guess practice does make things easier. I do find when Peter's here, there's more of a natural back and forth, which makes the conversation a bit easier. When I'm here sitting by myself, I find that it's less conversational and more a random stream of thoughts. But I would be interested to know what you guys think, because some of you have been here since day one, and thank you. I appreciate that. Have I achieved the objective of why I started this, which is just to have a place to chit chat? I think so. I think I have, which is nice. I want a place to share what I'm excited about each day. For example, Peter definitely does not want to chat with me at the moment. He is sitting, again, if I turn the camera, you guys will see him. He's just sitting there chilling quietly by himself because we've had a very busy day. So I think this gives me an avenue to channel energy and excitement in a way that doesn't sap his energy. So that's probably really good. And originally, I think I was expecting Peter to join for more days, but he sometimes doesn't have the energy, which is completely fair. So now I'm just more used to talking by myself. The last thing I want to say is when you're sitting in front of a camera talking, it's really uncomfortable. Even though I've had a few years of experience, I remember the first time when you start doing it, you just see your voice, your facial expression when you watch the video playback, and you just think this is awful. But the more that I do it, it becomes easier. So for anyone wanting to start, I think I encourage you to just start posting. Actually, the best piece of advice I ever heard from someone who started social media is block all your friends or your family and just post. Literally just post. If anyone's mean, block them. Just keep posting and putting your videos out there, and you will get used to your face. And by the time that your friends and family who you've blocked find out that you've been posting that this long, it means that your content is now good enough and at a stage where somehow they found out about it. But as someone who's quite rejection sensitive, I think that works really well. It's not the path that Peter and I took because we didn't think about this. I hadn't heard this piece of advice when I started. If it works for you and it's something that helps you start to post, then do it. Yeah, but I think that's it for today. It has been a very tiring day. I am going to unpack all these clothes, wash them, start washing them, and then have dinner and then chill. Here's Peter for you guys. There's the cutie pie. He's just chilling. All right. Thanks for joining, guys. See you tomorrow.